Welcome everyone to Belfast Met's Supporting Innovation webinar series. Today is the first in a series of 5 to 6 webinars covering a range of different emerging technology and new product development areas. My name is David Phelan and I work for the Business Development Department within the college and work in a range of different areas across creative and digital, including emerging technologies that covers the likes of machine learning, blockchain, AI, and Internet of Things. So today we're delighted to be joined by a Microsoft Data and Artificial Intelligence team. So Susanna Loop and Burak Özer are going to take us through some demos and customer stories to really bring to life what is AI and how it can be utilized within Azure. And then we're also joined by Martin Knowlton, who's one of the college's emerging technology lecturers. So Martin would lead on different areas of curriculum, specifically within AI, IoT, machine learning and blockchain, and would also work on behalf of the college on a range of different innovation projects. So really delighted to have everyone here today. As we do move through the webinar, please do use the chat function. We're going to use that for any questions that pop up as we move along, and we'll host a short Q&A session at the end. But that really just leads me to hand over to Susanna and Burak, who are going to bring to life what is possible within AI in Azure. Thank you, Susanna and Burak.
Thank you, David. Right, let me share my screen and the slides so that everybody can see. And really just to introduce myself and Burak, we are the Microsoft Public Sector Data and AI team. We've been working with the public sector area for the past 3 years, some commercial organizations as well, just helping everybody get the foundations of analytics right so they can start looking at the AI services as well. And what we're going to do today is we're going to take you through 3 specific Azure services, including Form Recognizer, Text Analytics, and a Q&A Maker. So I'll quickly go through some of our customer stories and what these services are before I hand this over to Burak, who'll take us through the actual demos. So let's get into it, and we'll start with knowledge mining with Form Recognizer. So what Form Recognizer actually is a OCR technology that helps you turn unstructured documents into structured databases, essentially. It uses, as I said, OCR and machine learning to extract the right information from your documents. You can train the models to make sure that you can automate many processes within the organization, and you can do it in a secure way, of course. And the most powerful story that we've recently released, and Burak was actually the cloud solution architect working on this customer as well, is an Element organization. Element is a global business that deals with a lot of certifications. So as you can imagine, they deal with a lot of invoices for the work that they deliver. And when the pandemic kicked off, they had to digitize a lot of the paperwork that their finance teams used to be processing. And the struggle they had was that they didn't really have much of a budget to work with to get a solution up and running. So they looked at what they currently have within their technology stack already, and what are some of the AI services to help them get to where they need to. So what they did is they automated the extractions of the invoices and other documents that needed processing from emails. Then they processed it with the likes of Form Recognizer and layout Recognizer as well to extract the information that they needed. And all of this played an important role in the organization's response to COVID-19, and also led to discovery of new use cases where a technology like that can be used within organizations. We can also see use cases of this kind in housing associations and in local government, where we've got organizations dealing with a lot of documents where they've not really tried to understand how much the value that they can get out of them. So it's becoming a big topic across the board. Secondly, what we're going to look at today are cognitive services. Now, cognitive services are a big family of Azure services that encompass many areas. But what really cognitive services are, they are a collection of AI APIs helping us democratize artificial intelligence across organizations. Because no matter of your skill levels. You can be a student, you can be somebody working for a local company or a global enterprise. You should be able to use the APIs incredibly quickly in a matter of minutes when it comes to getting them set up. What we'll do today is we'll look specifically at text analytics and sentiment analysis, which sits within the language services family. And what this kind of technology does, it helps you mine insight from unstructured text using natural language processing, so NLP. And it allows you to do so without any machine learning experience or expertise. So that way you can get a better understanding of feedback your customers are giving you from many different sources within the organization. So we'll show you how you can get around that. But as you can see, the cognitive services family it's a wide set of APIs that organizations can leverage. And what's interesting about Microsoft is that we've actually reached human parity across all of these. So it's been cool to see the development in this area. And the story that I want to mention here that you may have heard in the media as well is that of Uber. So what Uber wanted to do, they wanted to make sure that they're doing as much as they can when it comes to providing secure services to their customers. And that means verifying their drivers, making sure that the person sitting behind the wheel is the one that is actually responsible for their Uber account. So what they did, they decided to use photo matching to verify the drivers as quickly as they can. Historically, drivers would periodically take selfies and submit them, and it would take time to get this verified, of course. So what they did is they developed an application using the Face API. It took 3 weeks to develop, and it really enabled the drivers to operate in a much more effective way when it comes to getting things verified quickly. The performance of the solution has been incredible for the company. The accuracy of the matching has also been perfect for them, and also the scalability of the platform enabled them to roll this out globally too. So this is the second area that we're going to cover. And thirdly, we're going to look at a Q&A maker. So at a technology that can help you provide the right information to people accessing your website, and for example, internal information as well. So Q&A maker helps you create that conversational layer over your data. You can create a knowledge base using URL, using structured or semi-structured data. And once you get that data source, it helps you create the knowledge base that the bot can then use to match the answers to the questions. What's great about the Q&A maker is that it provides users with a user-friendly interface that you will get to see. So that makes the creation of the solution really easy for people. And it is often the first step into the world of bots, chatbots, etc. You can add personality to the Q&A maker as well, so that the conversation with the customers is really interactive, and it can support many languages across the board as well if you're looking to serve communities where people speak many languages. And also scalability is always a part of Microsoft services. And one customer example that I wanted to share with you today is Aberdeen City Council. This is an organization that understood the need, especially as COVID came, to free up their customer service employees to higher value activities. So what they did is they deployed firstly an internal and then an external bot to get access, to allow people to get better access to information. And that has really saved them a number of hours and gave them the return on the investment within the first year. So it's been really great to see. We've spoken with the Aberdeen City Council, and the team has now taken the development into other parts of the business where they are seeing more use cases, and the foundations they've got in place enable them to scale really flexibly. So we'll have a look at the Q&A maker as well. And now let's get into the actual interactive part with Burak, so we can get hands-on with the technology and what it looks like in the portals. So Burak, over to you.
Thank you, Susanna. I am going to share my screen. Yeah. Hi, everyone, again. The first demonstration is going to be about the Form Mechanizer API and how we can utilize it to different kind of business use cases. But as Susanna explained, our APIs and most of the AI technologies are not requiring any coding experiences. So today in the session, I wanted to focus on the zero code experiences, like with the form recognizer or Q&A maker or text analytics API. So for the form recognizer API, we provide a UI for the customers who wants to build their own models or who wants to just consume the models that we built and just enabled to the system. So one of them is the pivot models that we can integrate. Let me quickly show how it works and what kind of form types can be analyzed with the form recognizer API. So we might have invoices, we might have business cards, maybe driving license, or we might have like some purchase orders and maybe receipts and etc. So let me quickly select one and let me show with an example, because I think it is going to make more sense with the example. So in this picture, like we can see a business card, and all the business cards are having different kind of templates. But as soon as you train your model, you will be able to extract some specific information from the business cards, like the card owner name, maybe address or phone number, and etc. So what Microsoft provides to you, you don't need to train any type of model. All you need to do is just consuming the model that we give you an access for the business cards or for the receipts or ID. Like this is a business card model. So if I run the analysis, I will be able to see the extracted areas from this business use card. So if I scroll down, I see the address information at the bottom. And right now there is a field including the address and the company name in here. And also like there are some other specific information like email addresses or phone numbers and etc. So if you have like different types of documents, like let's say, if you would like to analyze your invoices, so there is a sample invoice file that I have in here. All I need to do is changing the model type to consume. Like right now, I'm going to consume the invoice model. Basically, invoice type is kind of different because there should be some product descriptions like unit prices and also total amount and etc. So these are the fundamental areas to extract from the forms, right? So if we just run the invoice model instead of the business card, then we will be able to extract some other fields like amounts or billing addresses or customer IDs and etc. So these are the pre-built models to consume for the customers. What if you have some specific templates that you need to train your own custom model? So for that specific purpose, like I have created a model. I know we have limited time, so I'm just going to jump to the model instead of showing the processes. But this is another template that Microsoft doesn't have, let's say, any type of pre-built model to specifically consume for those analyses. So what we can do, we can just point the data storage areas, like for me, it's a blob storage, and then we can specify the fields that we would like to extract. For me, like I wanted to extract the title and the address and the invoice owner in here and number and etc. So these are the information that I wanted to extract from the forms. All I need to do is I need to put at least 5 different documents to train my own model. Then the model is going to be ready to consume. Like, let me quickly show how the consumption is going to work. I'm going to put another invoice. This is an unseen document. I haven't used it to train my own model. And the model itself is the invoice model. So if I just run the analysis on top of this unseen invoice, then I will be able to extract exactly the same fields that I trained. And also like the information is going to sit here. So what can I do with those information? I can just send them to a structured database and I can store them for the future analysis, like for the reporting purposes or to take some actions as well. So there is one thing more that I want to share with the form recognizer is the layout extraction. Sometimes you might have like documents including various pages, and all you want to do is maybe just extracting the entire information with the OCR technology. So for that specific purpose, we have the layout extraction model provides us that capability. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the admission policy that I downloaded from your website. So then it has like 7 different pages and it has some tables to extract and etc. So I'm not going to specify any area, just I'm going to run the layout extraction model. Then all the areas are going to be OCR, and basically these fields are going to be a part of JSON output that we can put them into a database if you want to. Or what we can do additionally, if we analyze like specific pages, let's say, so there might be some tables as we have seen, like in page 3 and page 4. So those tables are having like a structured format. Like instead of just extracting the fields manually, we can extract those tables, as a table, and we can use them in our SQL databases or Power BI, reports and etc. with a structured format. We don't need to just run additional steps for those tables and structured databases in the folders. So this is the first demonstration that I wanted to share. And the other one is the Q&A.
Before you go there, Bragg,
Yeah.
I would just mention some of the use cases we're seeing for the form recognizer are around helping organizations automate PO matching. So we've got a lot of organizations who deal with, let's say, 10, 15K of POs, and they want to help out their finance department, not taking the need to check the POs completely, but help them automate things through the process so they can focus on other things that are important for them as well.
Yes, exactly. Especially for the element story, like the POs are differentiating. So like there were 100 different types of POs in the system, and instead of training our own custom model, we use the pre-built models. Like since Microsoft is using a lot of different documents like from its database, and we are able to train the model with various types of documents and POs at the end. So instead of training maybe sometimes our own model, using the pre-built models are beneficial. Like since we cannot maybe collect more than 1,000 documents to train your own model, so you can use the pre-built APIs basically. The second demonstration is going to be about the Q&A bot servers. Why it's important? Because I think it is the easiest way to just analyze your databases and provide some insights to the end users, like with the bot servers. Like since it doesn't require any kind of coding experiences, all you need to do is specifying your database, basically including your, sorry, I should reconnect, sorry. Including the questions and the answer pairs. So that questions and answer pairs might maybe sit in your website already. Like if you have, for example, a frequently asked question web page, then you can use it as a knowledge base. And knowledge mining is using the machine learning and AI technologies at the backend. So you don't need to specify the questions and answers separately. If you just upload the document, and knowledge mining is going to extract the questions and just match them with the best possible answers from the document. So in my demonstration, I have two different resources. One of them is an Excel file, and the other one is a web page, Microsoft web page. So the Excel file looks like this. There are some questions and the answers listed. And if I just upload this document, Q&A Maker is gonna split the questions and answers. And then if we would like to change the wording for each question, then we can do it. We can manipulate the questions and answers, and we can also add some alternative phrasing for that specific answer if we would like to. But initially, we don't need to put any effort. All we need to do is we need to put the sources to the system. Once we train the model, there are multiple options to consume this Q&A bot service. Like we can use REST APIs to integrate it to a web page, which I did already. Like I'm connecting to the bot service, and I'm using, like at the backend, I integrated this bot service to one of Microsoft websites. So this is a live website, and the bot service is going to appear like by default at the bottom, of course. And if we ask some questions to the bot service, like we have the Q&A bot service, and we have the Azure support as a knowledge base, right? So I have prepared some questions to ask to the bot in here. So this is, for example, the first one is exactly the same question in the knowledge base. So what I'm expecting to see, like the answer. But you cannot expect that the users are gonna ask the question in the same way, right? They can change the wordings. Like what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the wording just a bit, and I'm gonna just ask the expected file content instead of the full question. So at the backend, there is a machine learning model is running. So model itself is finding a similarity score with my wording and with the knowledge base itself. So it finds the best possible question in the knowledge base and it provides the answer accordingly. So we don't need to ask the same question as a summary, like users can ask different types of questions in a different way. And also Q&A bot service supports different languages. If you integrate the language extension, then it can provide you some information in Spanish and in Portuguese, and also this service is able to understand the question and the languages as well. So you can just switch from one knowledge base to another if you're a global company and if you're serving this, to an international user group. What I was going to show, there is one more thing that I wanted to show, like it's about the scoring and it's about the, ranking at the backend. So as we see, like there is another knowledge base that I'm using about Azure support. So if I ask like this question, basically, I see the billing and subscription management, as an answer. But what if I just ask support? Am I going to see the same result or am I going to see another? I see another result because like at the backend, as I explained, the first question was the Azure support. And if I run this query, like with the REST API, of course, and if I just check the top results, like basically the first ranked question is, where is Azure support available? And I see the answer, for that specific question. But if I check the question as a support, as I did in the UI, I see as another, how can I get technical support? It's a first rank question, and the score itself, the similarity score is 57%, which is not the best, but which is the best we have in the knowledge base. But like, what was the question? The question was like, where is the Azure support available? Is again listed in the results, but it is not the first one. It is the fourth or the fifth one, and the score itself is less than the first ranked question. So that's why we don't see the same answers if we change the question. So this is the logic at the backend. It finds the similarity scores and it provides the best possible answer to the users, to the end users. So this is how Q&A Maker works. As a summary, like you can start using this service for free. But there are some limitations, but at least you can give it a try. You can just start creating a new knowledge base. You can connect to a database, or you can upload your knowledge base with with an Excel file, or could be a TXT file, doesn't matter, or you can upload it to GitHub repositories and you can just call them from the repository again for free. Then you can just train the model and start using it for the test or POC purposes. So it's so simple and so efficient. I believe that we have a lot of customer examples about Q&A Maker and bot services in general. And the last demonstration is going to be about, very quickly, it's going to be about the AI services. It's going to be about the APIs that we provide to the customers. So APIs are basically designed to analyze some text files, like video files or images, very quickly. Like, since normally you need to train your model, as I said, like for the image recognition, you need to train your model. For sentiment analysis, you need to have the documents and you need to label them manually. Then you can run your own model and you can sorry for the headphone. Like you need to train your own model by labeling your data. But if you just utilize the APIs to your system, you don't need to train any model and you can start consuming it immediately. So I'm just going to show you a quick example. The API itself, basically, once you provision the service in Azure, it provides you a key, a subscription key, and you should use it. And then there should be a parameter if you would like to, like opinion mining is an option to utilize, or if you don't need to, you don't need to utilize, the opinion mining. I'm going to show the outputs, but it's up to you. Then basically all you need to do is posting the queries like with an application. Could be Postman, which is a free application, could be an internal application. You can use JavaScript and etc. So there should be a post, URL basically for sentiment analysis in our case, but it could be related to key phrase extractions or opinion mining, as I said, or if you would like to identify the people, then you can use the people extraction API. Like it has various functionalities to utilize. So I'm using the sentiment analysis, and in the body, I need to just put the text in here. So the first one is about the hotel, review, and it is pretty straightforward, short to read, and you can maybe manually decide if it's a positive feedback or a negative one. So as a result, I see that this is 100% positive, and I can use this as a label in the feature. But what if the text files are a bit more complicated? What you're going to do? So you cannot read them manually, or you cannot analyze them manually, like since it might have some positive parts or some negative sentiments, in the same text. So overall, we will have some positive scores, like which is 63%, but some parts are negative, and I can also see them as well in here. And also, if I scroll down a bit, I don't know if you can see them properly, but if I scroll down a bit, I can see some key texts, and I can see their sentiment scores as well. So in this text, for example, they are talking about something negative about the restaurant, or for the food, they say something positive about the food that's specifically. So which is very important for us to understand the topic of the text, and sentiment analysis and text analytics API is providing us that information. So quickly, I just wanted to show another use case. In here, I'm using another, operational solution, which is Logic App. And Logic App is able to collect some files or some data from internet or from the databases. And also, I also use the sentiment analysis API to analyze the tweets, that I'm collecting. I'm collecting the tweets according to the hashtag, COVID hashtag. And every 1 second, I just connect to my Twitter account, I collect the data, and I send it to the sentiment analysis process, and I process the data, and I just see the sentiment score. So I'm not going to show the entire case, but I just wanted to show the output, because output is a bit impressive. Overall, I have collected like over 100 tweets, and this is the count of the sentiments, in that data. Basically, I have some neutrals, like some positives and etc. If I check the positives, so this was negative. If I check the positives here, perfect. So I can see the positive results, but the issue is I can see the positive tweets in different kind of languages, because Text Analytics API is supporting different languages, as Susanna explained in her slides. So we don't need to identify which language it is. It finds the language and it analyzes the text, according to the sentiment analysis, machine learning model, and it provides the sentiment score and the label itself to us. So basically, you can think about various, use cases. Could be about your customers, could be about your social media accounts, or or anything related to the customer feedbacks. You can utilize the text analytics API and sentiment analysis at the same time for the sentiment scores. I think that's all I have, and I just wanted to finish on time, but I'm a bit running out of the time, I think. So thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please just ask them at the end of the session, I think. So we are going to be here. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Susanna and Burak. I don't know about everyone else, but my head's already spinning in terms of thinking of use cases for some of the companies and organizations that the college works with, and how I know Burak probably made it look a lot easier than it is, but the likes of the Q&A bot, where you don't really have to have a a background in terms of programming or development, and you can quickly model a Q&A sort of bot is really useful for small organizations that don't maybe have that capability or expertise, but they can quickly get their hands on something and prototype it pretty quickly. So it was brilliant. Thank you very much for bringing AI services to life. So that really leads me on then to Martin Knowlton, who is one of our emerging technology lecturers in the college. So Martin works on a range of different programs, including Connected, that's funding today's webinar, to help essentially small and large businesses explore different technology areas. So Martin's going to take us through, I was going to say some of his favorite AI services in Azure, but probably maybe more some of the more useful ones that he finds in terms of some of his day-to-day work. So Martin, if I can hand over to you.
Yeah, actually, David, I had a question just for Borak there, just even on the, do you know, the form recognizer? There, do you know the way you could have an invoice and it was like a table, like it was like lines of a table? Can it do something where the table is like just colors? Do you know the way you have some tables like brochures and something? It's not like there's a square, like there's a black line. It's really like, you know, a blue background, but it's a table. Do you know that kind of way? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, it works for different kind of colors, because before running the Form Recognizer API, Form Recognizer is cracking the document. So it connects to the image recognitions and text analytics APIs beforehand. So if you are able to see the table extracted once you run the OCR layout extraction, then you can extract the table, as a table in its structured format. So the first thing is you should just run the layout extraction model, and you should see like what are the areas that you can, assign to the fields. Then afterwards, if the table is there or if the signature is there, then you can just assign them to a field. Other than that, we cannot use them. But I've seen like signatures are there as a field, and also I've seen different kind of tables, different types of tables. So yeah, we should give it a try. As I said, like it's for free to try, like for anyone. So just
Oh, that's good. No, we just had a project there that we were trying to recognize tables in forms, but they didn't have a line. It was more of a different color, shade of color behind the text, and that's how you could tell it was a
if
table.
the data is not confidential, just just send it to me and I can.
I can share the results. Because that would really help us out in the project. Then that would the project go way faster, because there was loads of documents to go through.
Sounds great. Yeah, look forward to it. Just try it. Yeah.
And just other thing as well is, the knowledge center you went over? We use that a lot here as well, not in the college, but just outside. Just people come to the website and stuff, and it's just brilliant to have it there. They ask nearly the same questions all the time, and you just give them the answers, and you don't have to have somebody constantly like answering them and stuff in chat. Like, so it's quite good. Like, there, like so. Okay. No, I just wanted to bring this up.
Cheers. Yeah, I knew your head would be spinning, Martin, when you seen a lot of those.
It's always good to kind of
brilliant. Thank you.
Ideas and stuff like that. So 5. Yeah. So so I just wanted to go over some ideas. Like, obviously you got some good demos there, and again, it makes it look very easy. And it seems very easy there to kind of use some of the AI services. But I just wanted to go over maybe 3 AI services. Again, I'm just always trying to think of ideas of how we can use this there, because they sound very good, and then you're like, where would I use it? But if you kind of start thinking that kind of way of how you can use these AI services, maybe for your business, or makes things a bit more efficient for yourself, then you start thinking about the advantages of it and stuff like. So again, just kind of going over what is cognitive AI services. The term cognitive computing is typically used to describe AI systems that simulate human thought. So I always kind of think of some of these cognitive services is like, you've got a trained person that you can bring in day one, and they'll understand how to do answering questions. You don't have to train them. You've got them day one, and they're kind of ready to do. So it's kind of nearly mimicking human thought there as well. So, and again, human cognition involves real-time analysis, environment, context, intent, also many other variables that inform a person's ability to solve problems. And again, some of these services are just solving particular problems for you. Like they're very, very precise. Like again, like the invoicing machine AI service there. It's really focused on the kind of invoicing there and the kind of forms. So again, it's really, I always kind of think of these like my friend has a business there, and he just thinks of these extra services as an extra employee. Again, with an extra employee, there's costs, but again, you don't have to deal with all the other things with employees. Again, they just do the job 24/7, these kind of AI services. So you can kind of think as well, Suzanne kind of went over this, that again, it's like a pre-built AI. If you kind of think of it like that, I think with all the AI and machine learning, there's a cost associated with it. If you want to, from scratch, train a machine learning model yourself, there's a cost associated. Not cost as in you have to pay someone. It's a cost in terms of electricity usage to train what we call a model. The model is what understands how to do a task. Once you train it enough, then you can it could start to be used. So again, I always think of it like an employee. You bring an employee day one, you have to train that employee to do a particular job in a particular way, and that correlates with your business. And so they might have to kind of come in day one and look through a bunch of images, looking for particular details. Again, you've got to train them what to look out for, the anomalies, and what information you want to extract out of these images. So think of it like that in terms of employee. But these are kind of pre-built AI, while Azure AI services. You don't have to do any training. It's like run the API, you're ready to go. Do you know that kind of way? So Microsoft's taken on that cost for you to do that. Like, so when they have 5 different sections, again, like Suzanne went over, the vision, the speech, language, knowledge, and search. And again, they're always kind of increasing the amount of API services that they can provide. And again, it's just to make it easy, because training your own models, I know from scratch, is a lot of work. So it's really handy that companies are kind of doing these pre-built AI models for us, because I think that's really what's going to help AI and machine learning really take off for like businesses, because a business can't take on the cost of training their own machine learning models to do a particular thing. They need really that to be outsourced and looked after and kept up to date. Because again, when you train your models, you might have trained them a year ago, you have to train them again today based on new data. So you've always got them. And again, think of it like an employee. You trained them a year ago, you might have to train them again today on the new compliances, or there's new things in the images if they're looking at images or text and stuff. So you got to keep training them models just like you would an employee. So again, it's just kind of looking at some of those there. So there's just one that I kind of like started trying to use was the Anomaly Detection. So that's a service, an AI service that is in Azure at the moment. So you can pass it data, and it can start to monitor information that's coming from an API or the image or the data that you're sending up to it. So again, what Anomaly is just like you might have a trend, and then out of nowhere, it spikes. So again, this could be your production line here, and you notice like maybe on this date there was some kind of anomaly that you're checking for. You might be measuring like the quality of what's coming off the production, and you're like, okay, on the 12th to the 22nd, there was something going on, and then you can kind of look into it there. Now you didn't have to train it anything here to kind of go, actually, if it goes over 20,000, and then let me know about it. What the anomaly detection is looking at is you're kind of training it over time, and it can start to see trends, as you can see up here. And as it sees the trends, then it's able to know, okay, this anomaly and this isn't an anomaly. Again, this is based on how you kind of measure your product quality on a production line. And again, another idea could be like somebody did come to us before about, even care homes and monitoring people's movement during the night. So you might say, actually, on a normal night, they only go to the bathroom once, but actually last night they went 4 times. And again, the anomaly detection is constantly learning what the trend is of the data that's coming up, and then it goes, actually, this is out of bounds, and you tell it, actually, it's okay, this is the new trend, or actually there's something wrong there, let's investigate. And again, what I like about this is it's just very easily, as long as you start sending up data and you say what to look at, it starts to notifying you again. So it's really a low-cost way of kind of doing that then. So again, you kind of have like just here is one kind of a bit of information you may be looking at. And then you have this kind of multivariant. Again, you could be looking at temperature, pressure, vibration, velocity. Again, you're looking for anomalies in that kind of, you might be looking at temperature or vibrations actually on your production line, that it's normal. And then there's an anomaly there one day, there could be some kind of malfunction and it's back to normal, but at least you're notified about that and you don't have to use human intervention to let somebody know that something went wrong. It's the system has kind of noticed that there based on trends as well, like so. And you could have trends based on, like, you know, seasonal trends as well that it will take into account. Again, it's got to be, it doesn't know your data. It's got to be trained on it, just like an employee will know that, you know, around Christmas time, it gets really busy with stuff. It's got to know over time. So it can't tell ahead of time, actually, there's something. So again, you got to train it there with your data. And you say, this is what a normal bit of data looks like. If there's anything outside that, you know, notify me. Again, so this is one thing I kind of like for IoT systems, because that's all IoT systems are kind of built for. You're measuring temperature, pressure, vibrations, and you want to be notified when something goes wrong, really, like, and it's really nice a system to kind of use to kind of automatically tell you when something's gone wrong, like so. And that's where I think it really helps you scale your kind of business there, like so. So anomaly detection workflow, again, I just wanted to kind of show you, again, don't be put off by this diagram. Again, it's just kind of showing you the kind of Microsoft setup that you could possibly have here. And again, it's not as hard as you think it is based on the diagram. So again, you can have over here sensor data that's sent up to the IoT hub. That's the Internet of Things hub that Microsoft Azure has. And you're constantly sending up data to that. And then your data lake is just like, just dump of all your data. So what you're just doing there is dumping all the data then, and then you're just kind of reading it in here. And you're processing that data then, you know, as it's coming in. Because you could have like one sensor, or you could have 100,000 sensors. So there's a lot of data to kind of go through. And then really what you're kind of looking at the end, you have a time series database and stuff. So at the end, you have this anomaly detection then. So it's been trained here based on like data. So to, again, maybe over a year, over 6 months of data of your production line. And then it's getting the real-time data in from these sensors, and it's trying to figure out, actually, based on my trained data, there's something going wrong in the system now. And again, what it can do then is alert you then that there is something going wrong then. So it's a really kind of handy system that I think is really geared towards like sensor-based technology and looking at that kind of thing. And again, you need something to measure. Like you might have sensors that can't measure everything, but once you have some sensors that can measure a few things, then you can start to look for anomalies. So that's one system that I'm kind of be looking into a bit more for myself as well, to see what we can do with it. I thought another AI service is quite handy here was video indexing. Like, so again, when I was kind of exploring this, there is, maybe I've run events before, and we hire a company then to kind of do the processing of all the images. So this, there's a lot, and they might process the image and they might like record for 9 hours of the day, and then they'll chop up the video then to the individual speakers. They'll put titles beforehand, and they'll put credits at the end of each video and stuff. So again, there's a lot of costs involved in that. But there's this kind of handy tool here called video indexing by Azure Machine Learning, or AI services, sorry. But you can see there's two bits to it here. We have this kind of video analysis. So what it can do is you can give it a video. It can do face detection, face groupings, best face. Again, it's looking at how many faces are in there. It can look at the visual content. It can observe people. Rolling credits detection, see if it's the end of the film. It can start to label as well what's in the film. So you could say, like, is there like particular logos in the film? Is there particular scenes in the film? Is there particular locations? So you can start to look at a lot of your data. Maybe this is like, you know, you have a CCT company and you have lots of streaming data coming in. You can start to use this. Again, it doesn't have to be for movies, which it might look like here. There could be other data that you might want to be coming through here. And again, through the audio analysis, you can kind of use language identification. So you could have a look at a piece of video and see how many languages being spoke. And you can transcribe that data as well. So even events that we've run, we would want to afterwards transcribe some of the data, some of the videos, sorry, so people can read it as they're going along. You have like even what sentiment analysis here, see what's going on in the video, audio effects, brand detection as well. So people talking about a brand, keyword extraction, what are they talking about in the film? Can you get that data, and then topic modeling. So again, and you can do it on here even with video there. So you got a lot of, see, you've got a piece of video data, but you can extract a lot of data out there, and you can index, you can kind of organize your video streams as well, like with that. So again, I think that's really handy for automating a lot of these things, especially when you're scaling, because when you're scaling, you might need a lot more people to kind of do this video editing. Now you have this kind of machine learning service that can kind of run 24/7. Again, so it's something I'm kind of looking into as well. You could facial detection, you could look for, you know, objects and stuff in the thing. So that's quite handy. So, and then there's just the one I'm probably the most excited about after the Anomaly one is the image detection, because again, we take lots of images a day. We're taking pictures all the time. We're being pictured a lot, especially in London there. But you can, there's so much data in the picture. They're just not the person you're taking a picture of. There's the place it is, you know, what's around the person, you know, or you're taking a picture of an area. So this is a machine learning, an AI service that is produced here. But what it's done is you just upload a picture and it can start to identify. Again, we've got a pre-built AI service that can identify objects in an image. And you can see here, it's named, it said, it knows this is indoors, and it has this thing called confidence. And what that means is, like, the machine is saying, I'm 97% confident that this is an indoor image. So that's what it's all about in machine learning, is all about the confidence of the output there. So you might see that a lot. And again, you can see floor, the confidence is 96. So again, there's a floor, ceiling, and again, it's extracting loads of data just out of one picture there. And then you've got the tags, so you can kind of start to index a lot of your pictures there. So again, I was just thinking about, you know, with COVID and stuff like that, you might want to have your premises only a certain amount of people there, so you can start to kind of identify, okay, there's 10 people here, there should be only 5 people. So you can start to identify, again, it can, even though it's recognized there's people here and there is a chair and stuff like that, it can recognize a lot more things, like even the flags. I don't know why it hasn't picked up that on the top there. So again, we can have a look at some other thing here. Is if you go on the Azure website as well, they've got an interactive one where you can kind of, you don't upload your own ones, but again, you can start to see here, look, there's a train in this picture, there's people in this picture, it's busy, clothing in the picture and stuff. So again, it can start to extract a lot of data out there. This one here, you can see there's footwear here, there's confidence there, there's people, seating, you know, and again, there's a laptop in it, extracted it. And you can think of this, like, how does this apply to me? I was even thinking about working a company maybe 3 years ago. And what they do is they use an app to kind of go take pictures of like fire extinguishers, doors, and what they're doing is checking the health, the safety of those doors, and the if they're correct, if they need to be, if there's any damage to them and stuff. And again, what they could start doing is organizing their pictures. They might have thousands and thousands of pictures. They could start organizing, okay, which ones are fire extinguishers? Which ones, which fire extinguisher is damaged the most? Could they train a machine learning model to kind of identify an extinguisher that's that needs to be replaced, or a door that needs to be replaced? And again, they're like, you know, the person, all they have to do is start taking pictures. They don't have to write up a report. Again, they're being a lot more quicker with their app and there. So again, they're extracting out that kind of data out of it as well. And again, I was talking to even just some of the people before, and like my dad and my uncle have a farm, and they have cows, and the cows have to move between the fields. And they were asking me before, could we use tags, you know, because they want to know where the cows were, because the cows stay in certain fields some time, you know, they eat too much grass and kind of destroy the fields. They need to keep them moving around. But what I was saying to them, they might have 10 cows today, they might have 30 cows later on, and then back down to 10. They've got to keep all these tags. But what they could do there with the image recognition, which is really simple to do, is they got a video feed and it was taking pictures. It could figure out how many cows are in each field, how long they've been there for, when they're moving, when they should move. So they could nearly automate the whole system just by a video camera there, because it couldn't recognize a cow. And again, they have one fixed cost of video camera in each field, and they don't have to think about, okay, I've got 10 new cows, I need 10 new tags, and I need to monitor them. Again, that's where you can kind of extract that data out of images and automate a lot of things there. And there's another kind of thing I was thinking about. I don't know if you've seen this in Tesco's. So I was kind of looking at it there yesterday, and this is the green light and red light. You go into Tesco's now, so you can only go in. And how this actually works is there's two, just the front of the door and the back of the door, there's just a laser that points down. And when you go in, you go through the two lasers, so it knows you went in. And then when you come out, you go through the two lasers coming out. That's how I know you're leaving. So they say and that's how they know how many people in the shop is. But again, what I would be saying to them, they could have, without using that, is use their video stream, because they have a lot of cameras in the shop, is to analyze how many people, because you can start to recognize how many people are in a shot. And then you can say your green light, red light, then, because you're more confident. I don't know what happens if 4 people go through that door at the same time, as they counted as one. So again, I was talking to the security guard, he didn't know, but again, that kind be a system that you could invent there. And again, it could be the same for your bar, if you're a pub or a restaurant, you want to analyze how many people are in the restaurant. You can use this image recognition then to see how many people are in there, like, as well. So yeah, and then there's other things as well, like it could recognize, I was thinking as well, for a construction site, do you know how many vehicles are on site at the time? Do you know how many people are on site? Again, you can use this video feed to kind of analyze, extract that data out. And now you're not having someone checking up on it. There's a system that's automatically tracking what's on site, because it can get that information from the feed and start to automate a system, update a database, who's on site, how many vehicles are on site, and then you're a bit more efficient as well, like there. So yeah, so there's the kind of ones that I'd be looking into myself, that kind of image recognition, and there, what can I get out of the data? What can I find out? What can I automate? Because again, when I extract this data out, I can put it in a database, and then I can analyze the database, and then that's where the power is in, like there. So again, that's kind of some of my ideas where you could use some of these AI web services there, and that's where you can kind of get that automation out of it. And again, David will talk about this in a minute, but if you're like still a bit unsure about it and you want to have a go with it, there's the innovation voucher as well, which you can kind of get myself for some of the part-time lectures then to kind of have a go with it and see. You might go, here I want to try that anomaly detection. Can you look at this data? Will it work? Because now you're just getting someone with the expertise to kind of come in and say, will this work or not? Or if you have a bunch of images, you're like, I want to automate some of this stuff. Could you have a look at this? So that's an idea then. So yeah, so that's the end of my presentation there for David anyway. So just to give some ideas.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Martin. It was really good to see some more use cases on top of what Susanna and Burak took us through earlier. And just, I suppose, from my point of view, like it seems to be where there's a lot of high volume in whatever shape that takes, whether it's documentation or people or animals, or it's sort of automating something that a human previously would have had to have had their hands on, and applying their own logic or knowledge to that. The AI services can then lift that and automate it to, really a couple of seconds in terms of analyzing and applying some sort of logic or knowledge to that. And I know I previously worked in the security industry, and the likes of smart CCTV systems were coming in where you would maybe have a site that was didn't have in-person security guard, that the camera systems could pick up if within a detection zone a person was entering, or whether that was actually a fox or a cat, and the imagery could be quickly analysed to determine, if that was a threat or not, and whether there was the need for a manual intervention in terms from a security perspective. So it was good to see some of those image detection, and I'm definitely seeing in the news recently some of those AI services being used to detect whether people in a certain area were wearing masks or not. But I suppose that might become less of an issue now that some of the restrictions are lifting, but just some of those COVID use cases that have come to light as well. I suppose I had a quick question just in terms of a lot of the AI services seem to sort of, you have to maybe play with them, and from a prototyping perspective, it's a lot of testing and playing. So is in terms of being able to utilize some of those AI services we looked at earlier, and you don't necessarily have to have a background or a knowledge in the area, but for some of those more advanced AI services, would you really need to have the experience in terms of the skills, or is it something that can be quickly learned from your perspective, Martin?
I think the form detection there is probably the easiest, because and the image kind of recognition, the anomaly detection is a lot harder, but the image and kind of the form stuff is a bit more straightforward there, I find. Because the image, you just upload the image and you just say kind of run, and it kind of start to figure out things about what's there. So that's easier to get started with. Integrating with your old system just takes a bit more time, and that's what I find.
Brilliant. And then I was just going to ask Burak, just very quickly, in terms of the full suite of AI services, what's the most common service that Microsoft's clients are coming to you in terms of the asking for support, or they're looking to explore? Is there like a real common sort of thread at the minute, in terms of post-pandemic, or is it really right across your suite of services you're seeing a lot of interaction?
Yeah, like I do cover the UK market and public sector, and what I see in general, like people are trying to operationalize their work, and they're trying to reduce the paperwork and the kind of what they do. For example, if they have an approval process with the papers, they would like to just operationalize them digitally. So form recognizer and text analytics API, we have a lot of discussions with the customers about it, and also integration of those services are pretty straightforward. Like I showed an example with the Logic App. Logic App is the solution that we operationalize a lot of AI services. So, and you can just connect to the SQL databases or any other databases, third-party technologies as well. So I believe like Logic App and combination of some of the AI technologies are very, very on top of mind thing for the customers in the UK market, especially in the public sector. And from the resource point of view, like we can assign some credits, they might have some dedicated resources like Susanna and me, like we are just managing a large number of accounts in the UK market, so they can reach out their contacts immediately, and we can start having the conversations about the solutions.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks very much. Martin, can I ask you just to quickly share the final slide there, if that's okay, please? So I was just going to quickly talk through how the college can essentially support in these areas. So today's webinar has been funded by the Connected Programme. And the Connected Programme is funded by Department of the Economy, and it essentially funds the likes of further education and higher education, so the college network and the university network, to work closely together to share knowledge in a range of different areas. So Belfast Metropolitan College have two work streams under Connected, one being emerging technology and the other looking at new product development in a range of different areas, from construction engineering right through to fashion and wearable technologies. And essentially what Connected can do for us is be able to share knowledge through seminars and webinars like today, but also provide support and advice and guidance. So for example, if after today you think you might actually have a use case or an area of your business that the likes of Azure AI service could be applied to, we can fund time for our academics to just have some informal conversations to see what might be possible for your business or organization. So if that does sound of interest, please do get in touch to set up those follow-on conversations. In terms of skills transfer, we do have a program called Innovate Us, and again, funded by Department for the Economy locally. And that enables the college to deliver bespoke and tailored training interventions to your organization. So it does cover a wide range of areas across our creative and digital school, construction engineering, through to areas such as film and TV, looking at virtual reality, and then into some of our emerging technology areas such as AI that we've been discussing today. And essentially, you can be matched up with a lecturer in the college to sit with you virtually or in person, one-to-one, and really train you and upskill you to develop your own products, services, or processes with a sort of commercial angle. So if you're looking to commercialize a product or process or service and bring that to market, we can sit with you side by side and give you those tailored skills. If that isn't within your particular knowledge or skill set, we also do have the Innovation Voucher Program, and essentially that program is run by Invest in I and delivered by the local university and college network, and essentially gives you £5,000 worth of funded support for the likes of the college to go and develop a prototype or proof of concept on your behalf. So if you're looking to get a tangible service or product in your hands to demonstrate or test with your clients, or go and look for more investment for your business plan or your idea, the Innovation Voucher Program is the perfect vehicle for that. Invest and I do have 4 calls a year for applications, and the college can help you with your application submission and really help scope out what might be possible within a project, and that can then feed into your application. And then last but not least, we do have a program that focuses on more formal qualifications. So Skills Focus is available for private sector and social enterprises in Northern Ireland with under 250 staff. So we have a range of different formal qualifications that we can fully fund your employees' places on. So this can be anything and everything from the likes of Microsoft Power BI through to leadership and management qualifications through to some digital construction qualifications. So there's a wide range of areas we can help with. And again, we would have calls throughout the year where we'd be looking to recruit businesses to have their employees fully funded places on that. So that's really talking through the full suite of programs where we can offer support. We do, as I say, this connected webinar is part of a longer series of webinars. So if you do go to the Belfast Met's Eventbrite page, you'll see all the upcoming webinars. So on Monday, 1st November, we do have a webinar focusing on sustainability within the fashion sector, and we do have a range of guest speakers on that. And then we do also have a webinar focusing on drone technology, particularly within the construction and engineering sector. And that'll also be followed on by a series of connected master classes, not too distant from what we've been speaking about today, but really helping you brush up on your data that you would hold in Excel, to really cleanse and manage that data and prepare it for visualization, potentially look before you're looking to start working in the likes of Power BI. And then further into the new year in February, we do have a connected masterclass looking at relational databases within Microsoft Azure as well. So we've really got a bit of something for everyone. So really do keep an eye on our E3 Twitter page for any upcoming calls to recruit onto some of our different programs, and check our Belfast Met Eventbrite page for any of those other webinars in the Connected series. If there is any other questions you have, or you want to connect afterwards or have any other discussion, please drop us an email on CEDSI, so that's CEDSI @belfastmet.ac.uk. That really just leaves me to thank our speakers today. So Susanna and Burak from Microsoft, from the Microsoft Data and AI team, and Martin Knowlton speaking on behalf of the college. And have a good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. See you later.